This is season number 19 of Bass Talk Live with Matt Pengrack. BTL is presented by Lowrance, Bass Cat Boats, Aftco, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Pro Guide Batteries, Beatdown Outdoors, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, and Omnia Fishing. Hit him with the hook, Jeffries.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about fishing, all sorts of stuff to get into today. We got through the Frank show, the 100th day 4 show with Frank Scalish. We got to catch some giant crappie. No, Frank did not break the 3-pound mark. He hooked a 3-pounder. He broke it off on braid. When you're breaking crappie off on braid on the hook set, that's a pretty strong fish. A guy who knows a little bit about setting the hook today. Very excited to have the legend, the Hall of Famer Tommy Biffle on the show today, and we're going to get into all sorts of stuff with Tommy, both current and past. But before we do that, let's circle back to the crappie. Big announcement of something that is going down on February 11th in southern Minnesota. Let's bring in Adam Bartuzek from the Crappie Chronicles. Bart, thanks for getting up early. You're not an early riser, are you?
No, not typically. Normally I'm editing till about 4 or 5 in the morning, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. It's been a while, been a hot minute since the St. Jude last year, I think.
It has. Season 3 of the Crappie Chronicles going strong right now. Some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline for that. So if you guys check it out on YouTube, just type in the Crappie Chronicles, and it's ice fishing, but it is not ice fishing like you would think it would be ice fishing. You're hunting and searching. Really cool stuff going on.
We have a big fan base from down south, actually, especially with all the live imaging and stuff now. It doesn't really matter that there's a lid on the water. People like watching it. So if you like crappie fishing, people like it.
All right, big announcement coming in. So last year, me and you fished the Dick Hiley St. Jude Bass Classic first weekend in May on the river. It raised over $750,000 for St. Jude Children's Hospital last year. This is the 25th anniversary of the event. Last year, me and you sold T-shirts with 100% of the proceeds going. But I think we raised, like 65, something around there. But there was an anonymous donor that doubled all of our stuff for the T-shirts, through the direct donation link. And then you get there and you see guys, what is it, Corey Hoke and those guys who first raise insane amounts of money.
Yeah, Corey and stuff were raising like 30 grand. And then you got, I think a team had over $100,000 last year, if I remember right. So we wanted to do something bigger this year. And I think Matt and, speaking for you, but also for myself, I think we both want to raise over $10,000 in one day and then see what else we can do over a period of a few months.
Absolutely. So one of the things you said, hey, we're in Minnesota. It's frozen. There's not much else going on. Let's do a meet and greet at a pub or a bar. We get together with fans of the Crappie Chronicles and BTL, and then we can use our current sponsors, BTL sponsors, to have a raffles, and 100% of the proceeds go to St. Jude. So what do we have going on? Because you know how to say this place. I don't.
Yeah, so excuse me. But so on February 11th at 5 p.m., I believe it starts, we will be at Giesenbroy Beer Company down in New Prague, Minnesota. For those of you from kind of the upper Midwest, it's about 35 to 40 minutes southwest of the cities. There is a hotel actually right across from the parking lot. So if you wanted to come down for the weekend, you totally can. But we will be having, like Matt said, we'll be having raffle prizes. And the thing to know here is Matt can list everything he's got going to be there, but we have I'm talking thousands of dollars of prizes, and they're not little gift packages. They are high-end equipment, high-end prizes, big plastics packages for people who come to show up. So if you're buying raffle tickets, all the money's going to St. Jude. And you're going to win some cool stuff. If you're a fisherman, you're going to win cool stuff. And as we all know, in the upper Midwest this time of year, Everything's frozen. Everybody's bored. Everyone's sick of winter. So it's a great night for everybody to get together, just chat bass fishing, chat ice fishing. We will have ice fishing prizes and bass fishing prizes. It'll be like a $10 entry, so you'll get one raffle ticket with that. And then I think it's $5 per ticket after that. You can get five tickets for $20. We're gonna have a bunch of stuff.
I'm letting you determine that. Basically, if you want to get ice fishing stuff, you can. Thousands of dollars of ice fishing stuff. I've got thousands of dollars of freshwater stuff. I've got two Denali rods, the Androids, the $400 rods there, spinning rod, a bait caster, an AFCO package, Reaper, Hydronaut gloves, beanie, boat bag. This is a big one. Pro Guide batteries. We had Matt Looney in studio last week, stepped up, and they are donating a $500 gift certificate to Pro Guide batteries. Anything that you can purchase on the website, AGM, lithium batteries, chargers, whatever it is. So if you're able, and the only way you can buy tickets is to attend this event in New Prague on the 11th, 5 to 10 p.m. $500 gift certificate to the Pro Guide battery site. So big shout out to Pro Guide for stepping up and supporting St. Jude and supporting this fundraiser. I got a $450 Sunline package that I'll be giving away to someone with the raffle ticket, and then 50 packs of big bites. We're talking pro packs of the BFEs, all sorts of stuff, about $250 there. So very excited for this event. I'm literally flying out on Saturday, doing the event, flying back early Sunday morning. So wish I could stick around and get in on a little bit of ice fishing action, but I got to get ready for the Bassmaster EQs, Bart.
Yeah. And speaking of ice fishing, so ice fishing prizes for people who are interested. We got clams giving away a hub house. So I'll have a hub house there. We're going to have a Vexilar flasher along with 2 cameras. And then I know Thorn Brothers is giving 4 of our custom ice rods. Yeah. So
it's good stuff.
We've got a little bit for everybody. Every beer you buy, some of the money is going to be going to St. Jude as well. And they'll have a food truck. There's food also really close to this brewery. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
For those of you that are on the in the comments asking, what if we can't attend? How can we buy? You can't buy any. You have to attend to get these raffle tickets. We will have another kind of auction, not auction, but donating to St. Jude with the link like we did last year, as well as a t-shirt coming out. But hey, I just wanted to get you on, Bart. Jump on, talk a little bit about that. And if you have any questions, jump into your DMs, my DMs on Instagram, Facebook, for more information, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll get you the direct donation page and we can get that up for the BTL viewers too. And yeah, we'll have more prizes coming in the next few months. We'll have a couple things for the people watching live.
Thank you for the early morning info, Bart.
Best I can do. All right. Have a good one with Tommy.
All right. See ya. All right, that was Adam Bartuzek. And like I said, something that I'm really excited about is continuing the work with St. Jude. I went to that tournament last year. Fat Cat Newton emceed it, and it's the real deal. It's not only the best ran tournament that I've ever participated in, but dude, one tournament, $750,000 to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Is actually supposed to go to St. Jude there in Memphis and tour it. Hopefully that will happen this year. All right. There's one man that I really don't like to keep waiting. Well, there's a couple that I don't like to keep waiting. One of them would be Tommy Biffle. What's up, Tommy Biffle? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
Now, that is quite the backdrop. I need to set it for the iTunes listeners. If you're listening to Tommy Biffle, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see 7 deer, a turkey, an Elite Series trophy. And is that a bobcat or what is that that's jumping on the side of you there?
Bobcat with a quail, and I've got close to probably 40 deer in here mounted.
Do you still have the rattlesnake?
Yeah, he's over here in the fireplace.
Still in the fireplace. I remember I went to your house one time. We were shooting some stuff, I think for Bassmaster, for BTL or Bass Zone or something, and you have a mounted rattlesnake. How'd you kill that? Was that like a shovel, a foot? Did you shoot it? What's the rattlesnake story?
No, I caught it, and I wanted to have one mounted, and I couldn't find out I couldn't figure out how to kill him, so without messing him up. And I finally found a taxidermist that would mount him, and he was in Tulsa. And I looked for formaldehyde and all kinds of stuff to put him in, and didn't come up with anything. But it's kind of stupid the way he killed him. He just dropped him in the deep freeze and froze him.
Wow. And then skinned him and
skinned him out and mounted him.
All right. Yep. I know we're working with what we got. You've got great audio. Your video's lagging a little bit, but as long as we got good audio, we're gonna roll with it. Sound good?
Sounds fine to me.
All right. All sorts of stuff to get into with you, Tommy. First of all, congratulations on the Hall of Fame this past year, right?
Yeah, that was a great honor.
I was unable to attend this year. I was actually fishing a Bassmaster Open, but talk a little bit about what it's like to be inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, to get to go to the wonders of wildlife there in the aquarium and know that you'll be a part of that forever now.
Well, it's a pretty humbling deal, but we just went to the aquarium 2 days ago, and I was still in there, so I was pretty happy that they hadn't thrown me out yet. But it is a great honor. I was really dreading it. I was dreading the speech more than anything, but I made it through that. So it was a great night altogether.
That's awesome. But you're not done. I mean, you're in the Hall of Fame now, but I mean, I feel like you kind of Rick Clunish, like you might have another 20 good years in you.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I was kind of wondering how long Rick was going to go. I would like to be the one that lasted the longest, but Clun, he hangs in there and he's tough, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Do you talk a lot to Rick? Like, I mean, I know you guys have competed against each other for a long time. Like, what's your relationship like with him?
Oh, I talk to him, when I see him and stuff, but we don't see each other that often anymore. He's in bass and I'm in Major League Fishing, and we just don't get to run into each other more than a couple of times a year at shows or ICAST or something.
I got you. Well, he's got, I think, a decade on you, because you didn't start till 85, and I think he started like mid-70s.
Yeah, he's got a little time on me, so it might be hard to beat him. So we'll just have to see what happens.
All right, I want to get right into the history of this thing. I kind of gave you a heads up, but it was like 3 minutes ago before the show started, Tommy. I don't think people realize how many tournaments that have been major parts of history that you've been an integral part of. And I want to go back to a quarter century ago, to the 98 FLW Tour Championship. At the time, the richest payout in tournament fishing history, $250,000. Up until then, what was it? Was 100,000 the most that there had been? Is that what the Classic was paying out?
Probably 100,000 was the highest payout back then.
So $250,000. Do you remember that tournament and going into it in 98 on FLW, what it was like knowing you would fish for $250,000?
Oh yeah. Something like that you don't forget, and it's quite a deal to fish in the first tournament that's had that much money in it.
You kind of chased Davey that entire tournament, didn't you?
Yeah, we were close. I don't remember who was ahead most of the time. I think I was ahead until the last day, but Davey was right there, and then he ended up coming in there where I was fishing, and we split it up, and the rest was history.
Really? So that was on on the last day.
It was on the next to the last day, if I remember right. And I had an area that I was fishing, and he had an area over there where he was fishing, and I think it was on the last day, he kind of moved over there kind of by where I was at. And I told him, I said, you see that dead tree right there? That dead tree's the line. You don't cross that line, I won't cross it. And that's what really cost me winning it, because I gave him too much water. And then I think they pulled the water a little bit, and the fish that I was catching moved over on the other side of the line. So I didn't go over there and try to catch him, and he ended up beating me.
You picked the wrong line.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you determine where the line is? Dude, you're notorious for this, Tommy. You're notorious. I remember Wheeler Lake flipping bushes. Remember that one? That was a freaking awesome tournament. But I remember I was covering it. I had been only in the industry for 5 or 6 years. Had Terry Butcher Idols in, and it's like day 3 or 4, and Terry Idols passed us because we're shooting photos, and then he sees you, and he goes, "Uh-oh." And he said, "Hey, Tommy, what do you do? Where do you fish it?" And you did the old circle with the rod, like, "Hey, I got the whole little backwater back here." And Terry goes, "Okay," and he left. Now I know that's probably Oklahoma professional courtesy. You guys knew each other, but how do you determine who gets the line, where that line is? How does that all go down? Because you seem to be one of the guys who it's like, "Hey, man, Biffle is the best in the business at staking his claim."
Well, if you've been there for a day or two, say, tournaments 3-4 days long, and you're up there around the lead, the worst thing you could do when I started was to get in with hell. Back when I started, it was within a mile of somebody, you know. But if you've been catching them and you're in a little area and you've been catching them, you're in the lead or up there at the top, have a chance to win, then, you know, I'll call from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
In the area that I'm fishing. So, you know, I don't try to run them plumb off the lake or out of the creek or wherever it's at. But, you know, I'm not going to let them come in there and pilfer 2 or 3 fish that might cost you winning it.
Do you think that, I guess, let's say, gentleman's agreement, professional courtesy has changed as we've gone more to social media and we've seen bigger tournaments and younger guys getting into it? Is the on the water courtesy anywhere near where it was when you got started in this game?
No, it's not even close. You know, the worst thing you could get blackballed for was getting on somebody's fish back when I first started. And now, now they'll come help you, and you just got to out catch them, out fish them, or run them off, one or the other.
I did a episode of The Cull with Dave Mercer. We called it "Whose Fish Is It?" And it's days 1 and day 2. You've got full field, and they flip. In your opinion, you know, if you're in the top 5 after day 1, do you still have a right to those fish on day 2, or a guy going, "Well, I was going to start there on day 1 and he's there on day 2"? How does that work when you have flipped fields? Now, I know you guys are a little different the way that the BPT does their takeoff. Still a lot of people here who listen to this that, you know, whether you're fishing a BFL regional, an open, a 2-day championship for your club, I think there's a lot of beefs on that flipping on the days 1 and day 2. What are your thoughts on that? If you're in the hunt on day 1,
you need to really more or less be on the hunt on the day 3 or 4.
Okay.
You know, day 1 is day 1, day 2 is day 2. If you've run way off somewhere and on day 1 and you caught them real good and you've not seen a boat all day long, and then here comes somebody on day 2, you know, you might let them on kind of fish through there and go on. But, you know, if some of them actively hunt you down, and those are the ones you need to run off.
That happens. There's guys who actively go, "Tommy's in the top of the tournament. Tommy's leading the tournament. There he is. I'm going to go try to edge my way in." Like, that's actually happened to you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
But, you know, it's a lot of it's desperation. A lot of it, you know, back then was, you know, maybe you had to finish good. The guy had to do good to make the classic. So there's a lot of variables that's in it.
Do you think there's less on the water pressure now because less guys are making a living through tournament winnings and more so diversified off the water to where the tournament is just an aspect of their professional career? Like back in, let's say, the 80s and 90s, there was a much larger percentage of guys whose entire revenue depended on the water performance. Fair assessment?
Yeah.
But so more beefs back then than there are now, you think?
I wouldn't say there's any more. I think as time goes on that there's more people getting used to somebody coming in and, fishing the area that you're in or whatever. More so now than there used to be. Used to be that was, like I said, that was the biggest no-no you could do. But anymore, it's pretty common practice.
When was the last time you had to run someone off? Has it happened in the BPT yet?
No, not really, because first thing, we've got 80 great guys. And half of us fish the first day, half of you fish the second day.
Right.
So really, until you get to the knockout round, you don't know who's fishing where.
That's a good point.
So you have no right, I have no right to try to run somebody off, So you just fish around them and move on and see what happens.
And this all started with me asking about fishing for $250,000 back in 1998.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we're going to take our first break of the show. When we come back, I have another on the water question for you, and it's about running sketchy stuff.
All right.
Because you are legendary for your ability to run sketchy stuff. And I have a specific example on that. So Tommy Biffle from probably the coolest man cave we've had on BTL so far. You said how many deer?
I've got close to 40.
40 deer. How many trophies? 10, at least 10, right?
Yeah, but trophy's not even out.
I see one. I see the one blue trophy. Is that two blue trophies behind you?
I think there's four blue trophies over there, but that's just because they didn't have no place else to put them.
All right. What other animals? If I remember correctly, you have a leopard down there.
Yep, got a leopard, kudu, impala, red stag, bobcat, couple of bobcats.
You got a walleye or some weird fish, if I remember right.
I've got a big walleye. I've got a tiger fish from Africa.
That's it.
And I always said I wanted to have a house full of animals mounted. I pretty much do.
I would say that you have achieved your goal, Tommy. All right. It is BTL on a Monday, January 30th with Tommy Biffle. We will be back right after this.
Introducing HDS Pro. Watch fish reacting to your lure live with Active Target 2. Get game-changing clarity in the megahertz range with the new Active Imaging HD sonar. Find the richest fishing spots with CMAP's charts. Take full control of your boat with the ultimate fishing system. HDS Pro. The more you see, the more you catch.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But Don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
All right, welcome back, BTL, on a Monday with the man, Tommy Biffle, and we piqued some interest, Tommy, when we mentioned the walleye. We have well, his login name is the Walleye Channel. For like 3 years now, he's been talking about catching walleye on topwaters. Like apparently where he lives, that's like his thing. There's like a time of the year where they blast topwaters like smallmouth. You ever heard of that?
Never heard of that. I did catch some flipping one time, but I thought that was pretty weird. But
where was that?
Huh?
Where was that?
That was at Lake Stockton up there in Missouri.
Huh. Like it just in the bushes. They just like a normal bass.
Yeah. Biting the jig just like a bass.
That's pretty cool. Were there a bunch of shad in the bushes or something?
I don't remember any shad. I was up there practicing for a tournament, way back in the day, and got to flipping willows and got to catching walleye. And I really don't even know if I knew what one was. I think I took one of them over to Marina and asked him what it was. And the guy said, "Where'd you get them?" I said, "Over in them bushes." And I think he closed up and went over and started fishing.
How big is the one you got on your wall? That's another question that's been asked a couple times.
It's over 10.
Oh, well, that's a proper walleye, Tommy.
Yeah. One of the first times, I believe we were ever at Thousand Islands that I was at first morning of the tournament, first thing, caught it on a jig and frog. And I thought, oh, that's good eating. I'll eat him tonight for supper. And put him in a live well and got back to the campground and found some guys that had a knife, and they said, "Oh, you better keep that, and you better keep that," when they taught me into mounting it instead of eating it. So that's how I ended up with it.
You caught it on a jig and pork?
Yeah.
So it was a minute ago.
No, it was a long time ago. Probably the first tournament that I went to Thousand Islands.
Were you dragging it or were you flipping it in the grass there? I
was pitching on the grass line on the edge.
I got you. That place has changed a lot from when BASS and tournaments started going there. Like just as far as weights and fisheries and how that fishery changed. It's a really dynamic fishery now.
Yeah, I thought it was great, back first time we went. But it's way, way better now than it ever has been.
Speaking of the northern fisheries, when was the last time you were on Oneida?
I think I was on Oneida probably a tournament or two after I won the first time. I think I've been there a couple of times since.
I'm trying to think. Help me out here, Tommy. Has there ever been a major bass tournament that completely changed how almost all of the locals approach a fishery?
No. That tournament that I won, it run to largemouth fishing in that lake.
How good was it?
Well, it was good because nobody fished for them.
Yeah,
they all fish for smallmouth. You asked anybody, and you could not win the tournament on largemouth, and so that left the lake wide open for me.
All right, so for those who are not historians of the sport, it was what year was that? 06, 07, somewhere in there?
I couldn't even tell you.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'll pull it up here in a second. 1 second. All right. 7 first place wins. It would have been 2006. You had 63 pounds and at Oneida, crystal clear water. And you were catching largemouth on the bank, flipping in a foot of water where you could see the bottom. And these fish would just be where? Shade lines, under stuff? Like, how did you figure out, holy cow, I can go up here and bust 16 to 18 a day?
Well, you'd go along there and you'd see an overhanging willow. It might not even be in the water, or there might be a branch or two. And this one particular willow, I flipped under there and I caught one, and about 4 or 5 more came out with him, and they were all 3 to 4 pounds.
Ooh.
And so then I started looking, and anything you found like that, any undercut bank, any little old briar bush that hung over the seawall that made a little shade and made a little dark spot in there, you could run those and catch them everywhere you went. So that's what I did.
And did you have any of your buddies that were in the tournament going, Tommy, you can't win it on largemouth. You gotta mix in the smallmouth, or did you even tell anyone?
I didn't tell anybody that I was catching them that good, but the talk, the people around, the tournament director, all of them thought you couldn't win it on. They'd make a big deal out of it when you'd have 15, 16, 17 pounds of largemouth and no smallmouth in the bag.
And you caught a 5 on the first day. Okay, listen, this is it. This is from a Bass Fan article from October 2nd, 2006. His stunning largemouth sacks, including a day 1 5-pounder, shocked even locals. It was old school fishing at its finest, but with a twist because he fished in literally inches of gin clear water.
Yep. Yeah, we one of the coolest things was the last day. I had flipped in a place and got a bite and missed him. And the water's like 8 inches deep or so, crystal clear, drinking water. And the bass had a big old black spot, the spots that they get on them.
Yep.
And you can see that big old black spot just plain as day. And he shot out of there. And he went all the way across the cove. And I watched him. And I watched him go over to another shade piece of cover over there. Picked the trolling motor up, eased over there, eased up there, first flip, caught him. So that was a pretty neat deal.
Completely unpressured. And then after that, there's a lot of tournaments on Oneida. I mean, largemouth then became the thing.
Yeah. And then, the next time we go back, there's 20 or 30 guys fishing for largemouth. And then the time after that, there's probably 50 of them fishing for largemouth. So you had to have a mixed bag after that.
It's real interesting. So I've been up there the last couple of years, Tommy, for Bassmaster Opens, and it's flipping back to smallmouth. Gobies got in the fishery. So the smallmouth are now that had been pelagic bait fish chasers, perch, the diving gulls, all that. There's times of the year I'm sure that works, but that's not the deal anymore. It's the goby chasing smallmouth. And then I think 3-4 years ago, they had a real bad fish kill where a lot of the fish less than 6 foot of water died, which meant a lot of the largemouth died. All the big smallmouth that survived, it was something that got in their brain. And I was talking with the guys at the tackle shop there, and I said, I caught like a 4.5 in practice. He goes, let me guess, it had one eye. I was like, how'd you know that? And he goes, because almost all the big ones that survived that fish kill, something happened in their brain. It killed one eye, but it saved the other eye. And they're the ones that have survived. So a lot of the population of largemouth is gone, and they're kind of having to start back because of how many of those fish in less than 6 foot of water died during that summer a couple years ago.
Oh, that's crazy. Did they ever figure out what happened?
It was something about like it was massively warm and it was some sort of algae with the oxygen level. I don't know. I don't want to speak like I actually am like a fisheries biologist up there. It's just a number of people have told me kind of the same thing.
One of the neatest things, Dave Smith.
Yeah, Big Dave. Everyone knows Big Dave because he makes every trophy you've ever seen in bass fishing. Those trophies behind you, Big Dave's, MTM recognition.
Every one of them. But he told me the neatest story back one of the first few times we were at Oneida. And he said, bass fishermen are so dumb. And I said, how's that? And he'd take a bag of Cheetos, go by the store, buy a big bag of Cheetos. And when he's going across the lake out there in the middle, he'd dump them out. And those gulls would be out there diving on them. And he'd go over there and stop somewhere and just watch them. Everybody see those gulls diving, and they'd run out there to where they was diving on those Cheetos. He's in bass fisherman, so dumb. But Dave was a great guy. He always liked to play jokes like that.
And he'd just be sitting over on his butt seat with his legs crossed, drop shotting with a bait caster.
laughing his ass off.
He's still doing good. He's not as mobile as he used to be, but my good buddy, and you know him too. I think he went to the Amazon with him. Is Jared Miller? Still I still check in. He still talks to Dave pretty regularly.
Yeah, I call him. He's a hoot. He ain't
Speaking
changed.
of Hall of Fames, I think he's in like the Oklahoma Basketball Hall of Fame.
He probably is. He loved that basketball.
That's good stuff. You're known for running sketchy stuff, right? Like that's kind of. So I remember very first open I ever fished, 2015. I'm on Ross Barnett early in the year. It's the one that we're over there in the area where McClellan had that mega sack. And I didn't know it's real sketchy on that side of the lake. We'll leave it at that. And I've got a co-angler who's a local. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that I really like my lower unit, my prop, and I don't want to embarrass myself. And there's kind of like an island deal, but there's like metal sticking out and stumps. And this local I was with, I was idling, and he's like, "Do you know where you're going?" I was like, "Absolutely not." And he goes, "Well, you can kind of angle over this way, blah, blah, blah." And then we hear, and it's boat running. And he goes, "I have never seen anyone run this in 30 years back on this flat." And I said, "Yeah, we can't tell who it is." And he goes, "That guy's either a local or has a death wish." And it's getting louder. You pop out of this deal and you are trimmed up and hauling ass, Tommy. And this guy is shocked. And he goes, "You think he knows where he's going?" And I was like, "I have no idea." He goes, "I've never seen anybody run that." And you were just, wow, God, right through it. He's like, "That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life." And then you're gone. And then we went fishing. Obviously, you didn't hit anything. But I mean, that's pretty much par for the course for how you run stuff, right?
Yeah, I'd always tell everybody, I run on the theory, if you don't see it, it's not there. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But most of the time, if you'll run wide open, trim it up, you'll make it.
So what does most of the time mean? Like, have you ever found yourself in a real pickle because of some boat driving?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been, I can write a book on real pickles and dumb stuff that I've done. And I wish back then I had a GoPro camera on my boat, because I would have some of the neatest video there ever was. But I have pulled a lot of stunts in my career.
Care to share any of them?
Well, I mean, I can give you some for instances.
Let's hit us with some for instances, Tommy.
I had down in the coast, down there on like Pascagoula, down there where it's little bitty rivers, not like rivers we have here, but more like big creeks.
Mm-hmm.
I had my sponsor, Solar Bat, was with me. He was fishing a tournament, and we're running back to weigh in, and we're running down those little old creeks and rivers, and we come to a corner, a right-hand corner, and there was a guy over on the left bank fishing. There was a guy tied up in a tree, crappie fishing. Well, we come down there, and they just pop up on you. We're running wide open.
Yeah.
And you don't have no choice but just to keep her hammered and keep going. Well, it was such a sharp corner that the boat spun all the way around. And it luckily got pointed back down the creek, and I just and never slowed down. And I never said nothing. And we got to the weigh-in, and he said, "That's the damnedest thing I've ever seen." I said, "You've never done a high-speed donut before?" And he said, "No." He said, "You waved at him when we went around." He just couldn't get over that. But, what else you do when you wash them out on the bank almost, you got to wave at them.
Yeah.
But,
so you did a 360 on the curve and then hooked it back up.
Yeah, never missed a beat. probably didn't lose 2 or 3 miles an hour when it did it.
Wow.
And then we had another one down there that it was back when the mapping first came out. We hadn't had them very long on the units.
Yep.
And everybody was running up the river, and you know, the river's like a big creek, and there's arms and forks and stuff going off. And there's 4, 5, 6 boats in front of me, and it forks, and they go right, and really you should have went left. Well, the first 3 or 4 or 5, however many was ahead of me, they're hitting the bottom. They're stuck in the mud. Well, there was a long peninsula of cattails coming out, making the fork.
Right.
So I saw them hitting the ground. Well, I just turned it hard as I could right. And well, right there's a big wall of cattails on that peninsula. So I just floored it. And I hit them cattails and jumped across that land and back in the creek on the other side and kept on going. And it looked like a James Bond movie, and everybody saw it. But, you know, they go, how'd you? I said, well, I didn't have any choice. I said, it's either get stuck in the mud or take my chances of jumping that little piece of land and hoping there wasn't a log there. And luckily there wasn't anything there. And I never slowed down.
How much better have boats gotten at handling than they used to be? Like, I remember Harold Allen being like, hey, the first thing we used to do is put the boat up and sand the bottom of it so it was faster. And I'm like, really? Like, how did that help with handling? He's like, it didn't, but it made it 3 miles an hour faster.
Yeah. They handle a ton better now, and you know, the power steering and everything. They used to be back in the day. They used to be a handful.
Oh, that's right. So all like these stories you're talking about, you're not dealing with power steering. You're turning the dang thing.
Yeah.
And you probably didn't have a hot foot either.
Yeah, I had the first hot foot of any bass boat probably ever made.
Really? How did that come about?
I had went to the boat races up in St. Louis and seen a hot foot in those race boats and bought one before I left. The first tournament I go to after I put it in my boat, the Lake Patrol, when I went through boat check, pulled me out of the line and wasn't going to let me fish. And I showed him how it worked. I said, look, I can get thrown out and it'd go to an idle. Well, then after that, it was a great deal. But I'll bet you I had the first hot foot in a bass boat.
You have any idea what year that would have been? Roundabouts? Were you running the NASCAR Ranger back then with like the jersey like that? I feel like that was one of your iconic looks, Tommy.
This was way before that.
Okay.
This was my second boat. I was probably about 19.
Oh, so this is old school. Like this. Yeah. You probably had the first hot foot.
Yeah. Old. Long time ago.
Wow. Did you get to do anything cool with the NASCAR wrap? Like, do you get to go down in the pits and take a bunch of the guys racing or fishing and stuff?
I didn't back then when I was running that NASCAR boat, but I did have some great NASCAR experiences through fishing with Ryan Newman and some of the other guys back a long time ago.
You take them fishing? Because a lot of those guys like to fish, don't they?
Yeah. I took Ryan fishing, went to his house, and we fished the lake that he has there at his house, and had a great time.
I'm trying to find a picture of you because I don't know why. Maybe it's just my age, but that is like seared into my young memory. It was like, here's Tommy Biffle, who commands the water, drives like he stole it, and is wrapped with this NASCAR thing. Like, it was just the perfect combination back then. Like, if you couldn't pick a better guy for that wrap, because that was like was that a Ranger Series boat, like a NASCAR edition?
Yeah, it was NASCAR edition.
When was the last time you saw one of those? I mean, they got to be out there still, don't they?
I've still got the seat out in my building.
Really?
Yeah. The bench seat.
I'm looking at this. Was the Timex deal, was that just a one-off tournament? Like, did you have to wear that on the final day, or you were sponsored by Timex?
Yeah, we were sponsored by Timex for quite a few years.
That's the watch deal, right?
Yeah.
Huh. That had to be cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Why can I? Oh, here it is. I found it. I found it, Tommy. All right, let me share the screen here. Let's bring back some. Boom, there it is.
Yeah.
You had it was a yellow jersey, old school jersey, Ranger, NASCAR right across it with the checkered flag.
Yep. Yep, I believe there's still one of those shirts up there in the closet somewhere.
Why is that in a closet and not on the wall?
I don't know. Deer's on the wall.
Dude, you got to have that jersey on the wall. That's a top 5 iconic jersey. I put that jersey, top 5 iconic jerseys. I put that jersey with the Crown Royal jersey, the purple Crown Royal jersey. Oh. That's got to be in the top 5, don't you think?
Probably was. It probably was.
The Frosted Flakes jersey. I'd put the either Tony, that you could either go Lefebvre or you could go Wendlet.
Yeah.
That jersey would have to be in the top 5. Who else has a badass jersey that you would put in your top 5 jerseys? Like just old school jerseys of all time.
Oh, there was Fuji. They had tournaments, or shirts, those Timex shirts. Who else?
We did a whole show with Brett Hyde on the FLW team deals, and those just got ridiculous for a while.
Yeah, there was, that's where all those started. I think most of them was from FLW.
Yep, Clay Williamson. I mentioned that too. You'd have to go Aaron Martin's with the Vault jersey, probably one of the first dye sublimated jerseys, I believe. Remember that green Vault jersey that he had?
I don't remember that as much as I remember him having the purple jerseys, the Crown Royal, and
that was what was Peter T on that, and Aaron and Skeet.
Yeah. I don't know if Skeet was on that, but I know Peter T was.
I feel like a lot of them were. You ever just completely sheared off the lower unit at like dusk and been stuck out overnight?
I have cut a lot of them off, but I never stayed out overnight. I stayed out till about 1 or 2 one time.
Where was that?
That's the Mississippi River.
Oh, that's probably not very fun.
No, no. And I didn't hit anything. The motor bracket broke, and the motor came off, and it took us till we made it to weigh in, but the time we got the boat back up the river, back up to Memphis, is about 2 a.m. All
right, you good for one more segment? I mean, dude, I could talk with you about a bunch of stuff because I want to do a little BTLs, entertain, educate, and engage. You've definitely been entertaining and engaging, but I want to get into some educational stuff because, I mean, what's a Tommy Biffle show without some Biffle Bug questions?
Okay.
Fair enough?
I'm good.
All right, BTL on a Monday with Tommy Biffle. We'll be back right after this.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top 100, Strike King.
Hey guys, Gerald Swindle representing the AFCO Hydronaut. This is the jacket I love wearing when times is tough, and I'm talking about the weather, not the fishing. The jacket, what I like, I got a double cup right here. I can seal up the bottom of my jacket because when you're fishing, you're holding your arms up. You're bad about getting water that runs downhill. Everything bends good. I'm long arm. Look, it fits very comfortable. My arms is flexible. I've got the speed hood on, pouring down rain. I can get everything zipped up. One thing they did is they made plenty of pocket space. If you ain't got enough pockets in the Hydronaut rain suit, you just got too much stuff. When the water membrane. That's 30K, baby. 30 times the reason you ain't gonna get wet. Super warm. If it's cold in the wintertime, you put on your hydronaut, you're gonna be a much more comfortable person. If you don't want to just look sexy at Dairy Queen, wear your hydronaut. We got it from small to 5X. Most rain gear does not come in that many sizes. You got waist adjusting straps. We can make it fit you no matter what the environment is. We want you to be comfortable. We want you to be dry. You gotta check it out. It ain't gonna let you down.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves the house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for everyday carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
All right, welcome back. Tommy Biffle, I noticed you perked up there when the pocket knife commercial came up, Tommy.
Did you?
Yeah, I noticed you were kind of looking
Why did I
around.
get that deal?
And then you heard the EDC pocket knife, and Michael Deal opened one up, and you said, now we're talking my language."
Yeah, I don't know how come I didn't get that deal.
Where did that come from? The "I'll cut you"?
From Ish.
Really?
Yeah. And that's where I want from here to the dam. That's where that came from.
So Ish is responsible for a lot of the aura surrounding you about don't mess with Tommy Biffle. Because, dude, I've crappie fished with you on the water. Now, I haven't competed against you. I haven't tried to come in on a creek where you're trying to win on. But, like, you're a fun guy to be on the water with. You're not grumpy at all. You're cutting up, telling jokes, having a great time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had, I started guiding here this past year. And some of the people I've taken, they think that's probably the best part of it.
Because everyone thinks you're just grumpy.
Yeah, that's not right.
But you don't mind that on the water. I mean, that's kind of good to have a little bit of that. You go back to the NASCAR, a little bit of that Dale Earnhardt kind of intimidation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I don't know. It's been good.
All right, let's talk Biffle Bug, which you really kind of put that on the map there at the Gibson tournament that was supposed to be on the river, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
If my memory serves me right.
Yeah.
So there was a tournament that was supposed to be on the Arkansas River out of Three Forks. It was a time of the year where they only had a 50% chance of it happening, just based on what usually happens to the river. All of a sudden, trees floating down the river, everything. They had 1 day of practice where guys could go out on Gibson. They moved it from the river to Gibson Elite Series tournament. Did you really mow your yard that day instead of even go out and practice on the one practice day?
Yeah, I did. I mowed the yard. I figured if about 30-something years of fishing out there, one more day of practice wasn't really going to help.
It didn't even want to be seen on the water.
No, because, if I would have went out there, I would have just messed with them,
Yeah.
Like, run out in the middle and stop and fish here and run over there and stop and fish there.
You had done the big Dave Cheetos trick.
Yeah. And for the guys that are looking and, wanting to know where you're at and stuff, then that just messed them up.
Yeah. You have to understand, if you don't remember what happened there, folks, this is the greatest home field advantage in history. You literally have a house that lives that is on Gibson. Gibson's your home lake. You spent countless number of days out there. Now, you could get information on the Elite Series at that time, but it was a 1 month or 2 week or so. There was, I think, a 1 month off limit. So everybody had worked on the Arkansas River and Three Forks and Kerr and those pools. And then when they changed it, it was a day before the tournament started. No, outside of maybe, I think there had been 1 or 2 opens there before, had ever been on the lake. Right?
Yeah, you're breaking up. I don't really know exactly what you said.
Oh, I was just saying that's the greatest home field advantage in history, Tommy.
Oh, yeah.
That tournament.
Yeah, I knew it was a bad deal for them.
The Biffle Bug, then. Does it replace the Carolina rig, the jig, the big worm, and the plug in most situations?
It does in my boat. You know, if there's anything that hurts me sometimes, is I may throw it too much. But it is an awesome bait, and my son-in-law would be fishing with me, and he'd be throwing everything else, and I'd like, look, you could be throwing that bug every cast and catching more fish.
What percentage of the time would you say you still throw it? I mean, if you're fishing where it's one of those bites, I mean, is it in your tournaments over the last 10 years, how much of your time has been spent throwing a Biffle Bug?
Probably 90%.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, sometimes too much. Yep, sometimes it's too much.
On the head. And I mean, I know you flip it too. So you're either bugging or flipping.
Yeah.
Do you crank at all? Have you ever cranked? Were you a cranker back in the day?
I got a lot of crankbaits. I don't like them, but I got them. And I caught the biggest stringer of fish I've ever caught on crankbait. But I still don't like it.
Wait, let me see if I can get this off the top of my head. Was it a 31-15 bag to come from nowhere to win the Megabucks tournament?
No, I caught them on jig.
What was your big string? Was it on Falcon?
No, it was at Chattanooga at Chickamauga. And it was not during the tournament, but practice for the tournament.
Ah.
And that was back, which the grass has come back now, but that was when the grass was there the first time. And you could stop on little cuts going up the river and catch at least a 7 to 10 pounder on every place you stop. Sometimes you catch 3 or 4 or 5 of one corner. And I always said that's my biggest bunch of fish I ever caught. And
how far? Go ahead.
Then come back for the tournament and they dropped to the water 3 feet.
Yeah, typical. How far behind were you in that Megabucks tournament on the first day when you came in with like 32 on the second day?
I was far enough behind that I had checked out of the hotel.
After the first day, you checked out of the hotel. You thought you were going home.
Yeah. It wasn't the first day. I think it was the second day.
Second day?
Yeah, it was.
Because didn't you end up blowing that thing away?
I did, but I didn't win. You know, they start over on the whole course.
Yeah.
And I ended up not winning it, but I did beat them pretty bad, I think, on the overall.
Yeah, I was looking at the overall. It was. Well, it shows that you finished first on this. I remember kind of covered that it was Youth 73 pounds and then Larry Nixon 64, Randy Blockett. Oh, okay, that's what I say. No, yeah, I see what you're saying there. There's some of the different weights, but you just smoked everybody there. All right, what do we got going for this year? You excited for? You're going into the 5th year of the BPT. It's the longest dry spell without making a championship that you've had in your career. But the caveat to that is they're going back to 5 fish. You strike me as a 5 fish guy, Tommy. You happy with what's going on? You excited for the 2023 season?
Yeah, that's, they pretty well convinced me that I can't catch 50 of them. and back when I do seminars and stuff, in my seminar, I would always say, I would rather get 5 or 6 bites a day as to catch 50 little ones. Well, that's not the case in Major League Fishing. 51 pounders is 50 pounds. So, I'm really excited for it to go back to 5 fish.
Any particular derby that sticks out to you?
No, not really. Long time ago, I quit going, well, I like this lake. I did good here 2 years ago, or I like that lake. And just kind of take them as they come.
And I like it. You're not slowing down. You're going as long as you can. You're going to try to catch a rick.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. What else you got? Anything you want people to pay attention to, visit, see? You got it. Do you have a YouTube channel or
No.
TikTok? Are you a big TikToker?
No, I'm not a TikToker. I do have Facebook and that, but tomorrow night, if it doesn't get too icy, I'm going to teach a crappie seminar at Tulsa Tech over in Owassa. 6:30 to 9. And they can either sign up online at tulsatech.com or they can show up at the door. And I think there's 3 different classes. There's one the 2nd of February, the 7th of February, and then tomorrow night. If tomorrow night gets canceled, it'll be rescheduled, and we'll do it again. But that and, White River Marine Group, which is Ranger, Nitro, and Triton, they, if you hadn't seen it yet, they've come out with a no entry fee participation. If you bought a boat in the last 4 years, I think, it's a chance to win more money. You get to fish for more money that's not included in a tournament, but it's like $8,000 to win a tournament. There's no limit on the number of tournaments you can win. You can win 10 of them if you wanted to.
Wow.
And there's highest finishers, highest top 10 finishers in each tournament's payout. And, it's just a great deal so if you've got a Ranger, Nitro, or Triton, you need to get on their website and go to White River Marine Group and check that out before the tournament season starts. You just need to sign up.
That's where they make the money, is in those BFLs and the incentives. You win like $3,000, but then there's guys who make like $13,000-$14,000 in incentives.
Yeah, that's a great
couple
deal.
$100 entry fee. What model are you running this year?
I'm gonna run a R521.
Yeah.
And Ranger, I've run them my whole career. They're great boats. So not the fastest, but they're great fishing boats.
You have one boat over your entire career, like one exact boat that sticks out as the best boat that you have ever ran.
Well, I love that 461. I believe I was the last one to run a 461. They finally just told me you cannot have another one. and then after that, I got my old one back that I'd sold a buddy of mine and bought it back from him. And my son-in-law had it for several years. I'd say it had to be that old 461 probably.
That's good stuff. Tommy, I greatly enjoyed this. I'm glad we were able to get you on StreamYard, got everything dialed in, and I think the stream settled down and everyone was able to see your lovely trophy room. And hopefully you're going to add some more trophies to it.
Yeah.
Some like hardware trophies, not trophy bucks or trophy cats or, exotics, like some hardware.
Yeah. That means you got a good check. That's what I need to do.
I got you. All right. Well, thank you very much. Don't forget, when we hang up, your phone is on Do Not Disturb right now. So you will not hear any texts or calls or anything. So take that thing, swipe down in the right corner across, hit the little crescent moon, turn it off, Do Not Disturb. You move on with your day then.
All righty. I appreciate you, Matt.
All right. Thanks, Tommy.
Okay.
All right. That was Tommy Biffle. And dude, he's an OG. I remember I was telling a story to one of my buddies. I don't know if I haven't told it on air. Was we had a Gene LaRue media event a number of years ago at Toledo Bend, and the crappie were really biting. And it was one of those deals where there was the tournament on Toledo Bend and then 3 or 4 off days and then another tournament. But there was a day or two after that, and it was right when Spot Lock had come out, and Terry Scroggins and Tommy, big crappie fishermen, were like, hey, we're sticking around. We have some brush piles that these things are just absolutely stacked in. So I went with Big Show. Big Show had Spot Lock. It's blowing. It's windy. He said, hey, watch this. Hammer, which is brilliant because you don't have to know anyone's name if you just call him Hammer. And he hit Spot Lock, and we're slaying the crappie. But Biffle didn't have Spot Lock at the time. He was the first one with the hot foot, which is not surprising, but he didn't have Spot Lock. And I remember I think he got spot lock after that, but he was tied. Biffle tied up to Big Show's boat. So we had 2 boats with 1 spot lock. And I was like, holy cow, I'm crappie fishing with Tommy Biffle and Terry. And it was a freaking good time. So we've got a lot of stuff going down. I've got an update on the color number 7 from day 4. We have a tournament that is won by probably one of the top 3 hottest guys going right now, Dakota E-Bear, mega sack to win the Southeastern Toyota division. And then an update on a bonus show. We have a bonus show tonight with hundreds of dollars of giveaways. And this is one of those deals with having the studio at the house, really trying to take things to the next level in 2023, reward the listeners, reward the viewers. We'll talk about all that when we come back. It's BTL on a Monday. Big shout out to Tommy Biffle. We will be back right after this.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
The great thing about the new Sensation soft plastics from Big Bite Baits, heavily scented, super soft, buoyant, comes in 7 great new shapes. I've got a couple of them of my signature series, the cliffhanger worm and the ram-tailed craw. Great for a flipping jig, football jig, swim jig, all that. Several other great shapes. Really excited about it. We've worked over the last year, catches fish all over the country, and I think it's going to catch fish for people everywhere you try it.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the Matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look, that Matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronic setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
Having confidence in your tackle while on the water is one of the main things to success, in my opinion. In the last couple of years with Denali, I've had just that. From anything from spinning rods, casting rods, tungsten products, even now to casting and spinning reels. I have the confidence to go out there and get the job done and know that all my equipment is going to handle it and do it just the way I want it. The thing about Denali is you've got great quality products at a great price point, so make sure you check them out.
All right, welcome back, BTL on a Monday. Big shout out to Adam Bartuzek for getting up early. Like I said, if you are anywhere within the New Prague, Minnesota area, that kind of southern Minnesota, Twin Cities area, come on out on February 11th. Hang out with me. I'm going to have a bunch of BTL hats and stickers there, as well as thousands of dollars of raffles, giveaways. He's got that Crappie Chronicles has a beer called Break Your PB, and they're going to have a couple kegs of that left. I guess they sold out of the first one. It's really just, like Adam said, there's not a lot going on this time of the year in Minnesota, especially for the open water guys. It's cold. All the boats are in storage. So come out, talk fishing, shoot me a DM at Matt Pangrac on Instagram if you have any questions. About that. All right, we do have some tournament action going on Southwestern Toyota on Sam Rayburn. Dakota Ebear, one of the hottest guys going last year. If you look at his string, I think he ended the pro circuit with like 3 or 4 top 10s, and the same thing on the BPT, racked up like $300,000+ in earnings last year. Kicks things off this year. Weather shortened event. Everyone just fished days 2 and day 3, goes 16.6 and then drops 32.4 to win over 80K and get kind of his first major win in the Southwestern division of the Toyota series, which is good job, Dakota. We need to get him back on the show. He did really good last time. I think he bought, some like a hunting property and building where he's living in and stuff. So not a big surprise there, picking up right where he left off. The weirdest thing we talk about is momentum in the sport. Momentum's a weird thing. Some guys keep it. I mean, so Kevin Van Dam, you kept it for 28 years, but some guys keep it. Some guys, when the new season starts over, they lose it during that off season. Ebear has the momentum right now. I mean, big time momentum. So it'll be very interesting to see what he does, not only in Red Crest coming up on Lake Norman, but also on the BPT. All right. I do want to give an update. So if you were one of the 600+ live viewers for last week's day 4 with Uncle Frank, with Frank Scalish, we'll talk more about this on Thursday, but I've gotten the messages. I've gotten the emails. We're working on it. Basically, it sold out of the color 7 in 4 minutes. And the response from the BTL listeners and viewers is why I'm able to do this show. So I try not to push product, for lack of a better term, but there's certain things that happen organically, like the year and a half that went into how the color 7 actually came about. And the response from the BTL listeners, I've had a smile on my face since it's sold out all the limited run in 4 minutes. There were some issues, and I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, I have nothing to do with LureNet. I have nothing to do with the Booyah Pradco site. I have nothing to do with that. I know they are working on it. If you're one of the many that had an order that said it was confirmed and then it was canceled, I get it. That sucks. I apologize for that, but they are doing everything within their capability to contact each one of those people individually, and then also to make it right. They're going to get that bait back. It's a 6-month plus process to get more of that color in, and they're rushing it. They're cutting it drastically to get that color into the BTL listeners' hands. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for the support for that. That is a big reason why I'm able to do this show, able to bring you guys like Tommy Biffle and tell the old school stories and things. So massive thank you to the turnout for BTL. And like I said, we'll talk about this more on day 4. We're going to do a real deep dive for the next couple of weeks on day 4. Speaking of what we have coming up for BTL, bonus show tonight. Bonus show was working on trying to get Dave Mercer on. I do the cull, which is where we kind of do a back and forth 7-8 minute show with him every Monday, drops every Monday on the Facts of Fishing YouTube channel and podcast platforms. And we usually have Mercer on to talk about what's going on in 2023, what the Elite Series looks like. But I've had a lot of really good off the record conversations with him over the past year, since we kind of started this cull thing about the social media and the podcasts and the fishing world and how media is being consumed by the fans and where professional anglers fit in it and where the YouTube fits in it and where the podcasts fit in it and how it all works together. In addition to the fact that we're less than a month away from the Elite Series kicking off. So I was looking at our schedules. We were trying to get him on. And I said, dude, when we went live last week in the evening, I said, the viewers and the response was awesome. I said, let's just do an evening show. And he was 100% on board with it. So kind of cool deal tonight. 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then you guys out on the West Coast, you can figure out what time it is. But Dave Mercer will be live, and I can't remember any other show that Dave said. We'll be taking instant feedback questions, and we'll be giving away some AFCO stuff. I've got, if you listen, I've got a pair of the size large. I'm 6 foot 180, and those larges are a little big on me, which is what I like. But the sweatpants, the AFCO sweatpants that I talk about that I like to wear under my Reaper stuff, and then Mercer's going to have some stuff to give away too. But Dave Mercer, we're going to do a BTO show, but that doesn't mean we're not going to do a show on Tuesday, because Tuesday we're going to come right back and we're going to go with elite qualifier, former FLW Tour winner, Casey Scanlon is going to be on the show. First time Casey's been on the show for a while. He's going to be on Tuesday along with Dave Rush from Best on Tour to talk about some of the top things that went on in the industry during the month of January. And then to kick things off Wednesday, February 1st, weather permitting, in studio, Brad Hallman, as he prepares to leave for Florida to go to the Elite Series. It'll be the first time that Brad has been on in 2023. So he'll either be in his studio, in his office, or in studio. Like I said, it just kind of depends on the weather. And then day 4 on Thursday, and then we got a good show the following week. Pete Robbins. I think this is going to be probably one of my favorite shows that I've done in the past 5 or 6 years. Don't want to let the cat out of the bag. Don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet on that. But all right. I was unable to watch any of the football stuff that went down. I can tell folks aren't happy, though. Some folks are happy. Last week's guest, Kevin Rogers, I'm sure he is going to be happy because he's a big-time Chiefs fan. Guys who aren't Chiefs fans, Bengals fans, the Ohio crew, probably not very thrilled with how it went down. But that is all we got for today. Big shout out, Bobby Biffle, Adam Bartuzak. Tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time, Dave Mercer live. Lots of AFCO giveaways, and your opportunity to ask Dave and myself questions. We're going to do a regular podcast episode and then incorporate some viewer feedback into it. So this has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. We'll talk to everybody later tonight with Dave Mercer. See ya.